Hello, everybody, and welcome to a visual novel. It seems like Narcissu. It's what I'm guessing, an anime uh, visual novel type of deal. So far it looks pretty cool. Thank you for playing Stage Nana, Volume 25, Narcissu 2. The complete Narcissu 1 is included too, complete with its notes. It will be accessible once been played through. Also, the grand finale is also available from the main screen only after finishing both Narcissu 1 and 2. Any translator's version will do. Interesting. Okay. Alright. Well, I suppose we should start. First one, I suppose. Translation? Not Japanese. I can't really speak Japanese. So, GP32, I suppose. Voiced. Okay. On a blindly bright day, on that very day of winter. 2000, oh, okay. Interesting so far. Alright, everyone, we had a slight mishap with the recording, so let's just jump back in. I do apologize for those of you who don't understand Japanese. Neither do I, but that's kind of scary, actually. Even so, I attended elementary school like all the others. Sorry about that. Even so, I attended elementary school like all the others, and during summer breaks I often played until I was utterly tanned. June, since after my entry into middle school, the day after I'd ordered a swimsuit for use the next month. My first hospitalization on a day just before the first semester midterms, on a day when the first drops of rain were so cruelly cold. Falling from amidst the pure white of the overcast sky. Of course, the first time it happened, all my classmates came to visit me almost every day. And when I was released, they came to my house on weekends to play. But that was only the first time around. Autumn into winter, winter into spring. A vicious cycle, hospitalization, release, clinics, and hospitalization again. And before I knew it, even the classmates I once called friends turned into acquaintances, and then into strangers. As if with every changing of seasons, I was being erased from their collective memory. Seems that to all those normal people, my very existence was an unpleasant fact. And so, it looks like I've been erased. I'd spent so many seasons, so many white overcast skies, without the want or need to converse with anybody. For that matter, my English textbook never changed from that of a first-year middle school student before the first midterms.
そこで私の時間も止まったらしい。
That is where my time seems to come to an end. Eight years later, early summer 2004, protagonist. Summer, flowing sweet. The gigantic electronic scoreboard in the driver's license examination facility lit up all at once. My eyes and everyone else's looked for our respective numbers. 273. Yeah, damn dyslexia. 237. End of some 8 columns of lit text. Sure enough, my examination number was shining in the midst. Clickety-clack. A nearly empty train car, perhaps thanks to the beautiful afternoon. Almost alone in the train car, I was heading back home from the examination hall. My left hand held a new traffic regulations handbook, and my breast pocket held my brand new driver's license. So now I got a license as well. I muttered somewhat happily, but there was no strange feeling behind it. I never particularly wanted to drive a car. I never particularly had any motive for it. It was just that my colleagues and my technical institution both recommended that I at least get a driver's license. That night, when I told my parents that I'd gotten my license, they merely replied with an "I see." And when I asked if I could borrow the car just for a test run, they instantly and curtly said just one thing: no. While I didn't really want to drive the car or anything, the response was all too expected. These were my parents for you. The next day, I awoke with a chest pain and went to the hospital. Sickness and I generally had nothing to do with each other, which is why I found the ER waiting room to be utterly boring. And just when I thought they were through examining me, they ordered an x-ray and some blood tests. Then they left me. And again, I was left waiting for a long time. I'd already polished off 3 volumes of Shonen Jump and was just about to start on a 4th when they admitted me to the hospital right then and there. And it seemed that my new license, which was still lay snugly in my breast pocket, would have to wait a long time for its turn to come. Protagonist, autumn 2004. Right around when the all-too-noisy cicadas had finally gone silent, I once again found myself in the hospital, as per usual. Of course, it wasn't as if I'd been there the entire time. I came and went, a futile cycle. My first surgery was a month before. After that, I started doing the 5-minute commute and to and from the hospital by moped? Moped? I don't know. Excuse me. Every good narrator needs a glass of water every once in a while. And from then on, I was hospitalized, discharged, ordered to clinic, and hospitalized again and again and again. While I still had no clue what PET or ERESA stood for, in no time at all, several months had passed. As my appetite decreased, my medications increased. I could feel my own physical strength atrophying away. I kept imagining that my legs were getting thinner. But the needle of the weight scale rudely informed me it's not just my imagination. And yet I kept looking on at myself with detached interest, as if it were happening to somebody else entirely, as if I were looking at a scene on TV or the like. My mind could not grasp what had so suddenly happened to my body. Nothing within me was telling me that this was all real at all. And that's why, even though it was happening to me, I kept looking on as if something were happening to someone far away. Protagonist, winter 2004. A day of winter, around when Christmas trees had vanished from the streets, I was discharged home as a kind of year's end treat. It seemed like an exercise in total transience, but still, it made me slightly happy. I traveled back to a home I had not seen in a long time in the midst of a freezing rain. Strangely enough, my entire family was there. My parents, who had never so much as talked to me, came out to meet me if I were terribly stilted with smiles. And my little sister, with whom I'd never had the pleasant word, had made me my favorite cream stew and fried shrimp just for me. They made me sit at the table. They peeled tangerines for me. They were cruelly kind. It was an impressive display. At this point, a little thought occurred to me about my new driver's license, which still stuffed away in my pocket, that perhaps things would end for the license without ever knowing any use. And surrounded by a tree of stilted, strained smiles, I kept that thought, as if it were someone else's business, with this passion, ambiguity, and total disinterest. January 2005. A new year began and I returned to the hospital. But on this day, instead of my usual 4th floor room, I ended up in a conference room of sorts. They took me there. And then my father and the doctors had a little talk. I joined in. Well, they talked to me. So this was their so-called announcement. They said it in terrible roundabout fashion, but they told me that I was going to die. I see. That was my only reply. I had no other words. It was the only thing left in my mouth from beginning to end. And the doctor's ballpoint pens flew across papers as if in response to my words. Those were probably hospice enrollment procedures, businesslike to the last. My father was the same. So it's this simple, was the only real thought I had. That day I was transferred from 4th floor to 7th floor, from a 6-person room to a private room. It was a little different from the last wards, the 7th floor. First of all, the floors were sparkling clean, and the second of all, the ceiling was higher than I'd ever seen. The rooms were very nice and had a large window from which the warm daylight streamed in as if designed by. But the window only opened a little. I tested them out, and my head was just barely able to fit out of one. The color of my ID bracelet had changed as well. The bracelet I had worn ever since that first hospitalization, the one that had my name and blood type recorded on it. Its color had now been changed from blue to white. A high ceiling, a white vinyl bracelet, a new window that would open no more than 15 centimeters. The TV programs celebrating the new year were still playing when I was transferred to the 7th floor. And it was at the dawn of that very year that I met her for the first time.
Narcissus. 冬
Okay.
7回
Guess I can't save. Oh, there we go. Alright guys, I'm going to save right here. That was the prologue, and seems really good. I know I'm just narrating and there's no jump scares or anything like that, but I think this is gonna be a good story. So I hope to see you guys in the next video so we can continue this journey together. And I hope it ends well, but I have a feeling it won't. So until next time, guys, I hope you guys stay awesome, and I'll see you in the next video.